Hello everyone, welcome back. Got a good one for you today. So in today's video, I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the metaverse and Web 3.0. Before I do though, I kind of want to give you guys a quick crash course, get everybody up to speed. So Web 1, that was the flat screen internet days. Remember when you could just like look up sea turtles or whatever and read about them, maybe download a picture? That was it though. You had a very limited ability to really interface with the internet. It was just pages that you loaded and read. That was Web 1. Then we had Web 2. Web 2 was the social media world. This right here, the YouTubing, the ability to have a more in-depth user experience, kind of interact with each other, build your own online persona, taking the internet to the next level. You had LinkedIn, the proliferation of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, all of that. That was Web 2. This is a perfect example right now of Web 2. But what's Web 3? Web 3 is the next step in the evolution. It's subjective though at this point because it's so early. Some people call Web 3 some sort of libertarian user-owned utopia where there's going to be no technocracy, no Google-owned, no Apple-owned, no real big players, just everybody is going to have equal share in it. Or maybe their share in it will be dependent upon, their merit or however Web 3 ends up evolving, but looking radically different than some top-down power structure where the technocrats sit at the top. Other people say Web 3 is just going to be the technocrats creating an augmented reality world for you to play around with. I kind of see everything going more or less that direction. But it's all up for grabs, the future. Web 3, the Internet of Things, all up for grabs. I'm just going to go into all the things I think the metaverse is about to steal. And what do I mean by that? Well, Amazon stole the 40% of the supply chain that is storefronts. Where did all the department stores go? They collapsed into Amazon's share price. Amazon came and just sucked them all up like a milkshake. Apple dematerialized everything that you would hold in your hand because you have an app for everything on your phone. All those pens, all those sticky notes, all those paper clips, all those fax machines, all those handheld calculators, they all just collapsed into the share price of Apple because they spearheaded the mobile wave. Libraries, all the knowledge known to man collapsed into Google and their share price. All the books, it's crazy. So you can see how certain FANG stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google that boast these trillion and trillion, Apple's like a $2 trillion market cap. They accrued that value because they sucked a massive portion of the economy into their straw. Every time a U-scan goes in, that's Honeywell sucking up cashiers into their share price and their straw. So this is just some of the effects of this AI automation trend, which, as a side note, our policymakers running the country don't actually understand how disruptive technology is, and they don't understand this new tech economy that we're living in, and so it's really throwing off policy too. But hey, that's maybe a different video. So back to the metaverse. The metaverse is going to steal the casinos. Am I saying MGM Grand, Palms, and Venetian are going away for good? No. But am I saying over the next 12 months are more people going to find themselves in virtual world casinos than in real ones? Yes. Think about it. People are going to be able to get the same bright lights, the same stimuli, bet the same from the comfort of their own home. So you got to think about how that's going to affect the material world, the airfare, the hotels, the food that they would have bought, along their travel. I see not only casinos getting sucked into the metaverse, but I just see regular retail. So in the future, you're just, next 5 to 10 years, and this is just kind of how I see it going. You're going to be able to put on goggles and go over to your friend's house, go inside his metaverse mansion, and he's going to have NFTs hanging on the wall that he bought back in 2019. So art is collapsing into the metaverse. How many artists are pouring all of their capital into the digital art world? You don't think that that is otherwise art that would have been created in the material world that has now been digitized and transferred to the non-material world? You know, that's exactly what's happening. Netflix dematerialized all the movies and DVDs that you would, the DVD players, the Blu-ray players, it's just streaming now. And think about the power that they wield when, now that they have all their fixed expenses set up, they can send you a movie for the variable cost of electricity, so like 2 cents. Let's say you spend $15 a month on a Netflix subscription. Let's say you watch 7 movies a month. Okay, they just made $15 on you, and then their cost to send you 7 movies was 14 cents. Now calculate that profit margin. Now tell me you could do that sending DVDs through the mail or making DVDs. You can't. In that world, in the material world, you would build a DVD, maybe mark it up 30%, and you would need the labor, the materials, everything. And then you could still only send 1 DVD at a time for 1 person to enjoy. You can see how the material world is just collapsing into the digital world, and it ends up being a winner-takes-all scenarios for whichever FANG stock has dematerialized that large swath of the economy. So in Amazon's case, it was the retail supply chain and all the retail stores and the employees that do that. In Apple's case, it was everything that we would have otherwise held in our hand and used is now collapsed into a phone. In Google's case, it would be all the books and knowledge known to man, and YouTube, you know, things like that. And then in Netflix's case, it would be all your entertainment. And in Facebook's case, it would be your social media. So now Facebook is taking us into the metaverse, and they're building their own little world, but you have other people building their world, okay? So Mark Zuckerberg, he's not the master of the metaverse. He just owns his little section that he's working on. The metaverse is any of these worlds. It's any and all of them. It's a very loose, fast and loose term. So if you go into any augmented reality and are like talking with somebody, you're in the metaverse. It might not be Mark Zuckerberg's, it might not be Microsoft's, it might not be Apple's metaverse, because they're all working on them. But it's the metaverse nonetheless. Bill Gates just bought all of the Activision. All of it. So Bill Gates sees immense potential in the metaverse. All the guys that run these FANG stocks and large tech companies see what's going on. So we have real estate. I mean, we have bubbles in digital real estate. Crazy. People are going to be buying Louis Vuitton shirts, Gucci shoes inside the metaverse, putting them on their avatar. You don't think it sounds ridiculous that people are going to spend $500 on a digital shirt that their cartoon avatar is going to wear, but I'm calling it. And you don't think that's going to steal market share from the material world? It's going to. I'm pretty confident of that. So even clothes, art, music's going onto the blockchain. Concerts are being thrown inside the metaverse. Not good ones, right? But we're working on that. Not we, the technocrats that are plugging you into the matrix. And that is another thing. If you're super leery of it, hey, this video isn't really saying good or bad about the metaverse. I don't know that I would want my kids getting plugged into the matrix. I don't know that I want to go into their matrix and live in their little world. But this video is not really about the good or bad of it. I can see both sides of it. It's just the reality. It's just the reality of the situation. Sports. Imagine a world where you're just going to put on really thin glasses, go to the Super Bowl and have skybox seats that you spent 5 cents on, and you're going to get customized views of the field. Zoom in, out, crazy user experiences coming for sports. I mean, sports is what put Mark Cuban on the board. He did the whole bring college ball to streaming on the internet. So Web 2 is where Mark Cuban made his money. You don't think Web 3 is going to make and break a ton of players? I think that's going to be a pretty crazy table this next 5 to 10 years. Is just action in the metaverse. And from an investor perspective, I see it dematerializing airfare, hotels, all sorts of experiences that you could have had in the material world that just aren't going to be worth it. I could take you to the pyramids of Giza and give you a metaverse experience of that in 3D. And you're saying, well, it's not the same thing. It's not even close. And I agree with you, but it's going to be so much of a fraction of the price, and you're going to be able to export those experiences many times as you want. I mean, you can see how just you add up the good, and maybe even certain aspects of the digital world are actually superior to the material world, certain aspects. So all these different industries, telemedicine, doctors are going to be able to meet in the metaverse with patients. And maybe in 5 to 10 years, it's not going to be a cartoon avatar. It's just going to look like you. So I see a lot of big moves coming in the metaverse, for better or for worse. It's going to drink everybody's milkshake. I'm leery about technocrats and getting plugged into the matrix. I can see some very clear drawbacks, but I can also see how it's going to steal at least a tiny slice of almost every portion of the economy that it can. And will it excel better in the digital realm than maybe in the material realm for every wicket, every attempt, every application that the metaverse makes? No, but maybe 3 or 4 things are going to work really well inside the metaverse. So we're going to figure out what those things are over the next 5 to 10 years. There's going to be a lot of winners and a lot of losers. But to say, I don't like the idea of the metaverse, I'm just going to ignore it, that's okay. Now you've ignored Google when they got big. Now you've ignored Apple. Now you've ignored Amazon. So you can ignore these kind of disruptive technologies, but you do so at your own peril. So just kind of a quick video on my thoughts on the metaverse. Crazy. Yeah, if I have anything else, maybe we'll revisit it depending on how this goes. I don't know. I have no piece of paper that I'm reading off in any of these videos, you know, so it's just kind of streams of consciousness, but I think that kind of makes it pure. And yeah, better if I'm reading a piece of paper, I guess I'm reading a piece of paper, right? So just kind of off the top what I think about the metaverse. Till next time.